Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Son, I am your father.
Oh. Hi.
Son, how old are you?
24? Almost 25?
Have you ever had sex?
Yeah.
You keep this shit up, you will never have it again.
Well, yes, I will. Women love that Errol Flynn shit. You just wait and see. I'll be rolling in women. Hello and welcome to another episode of Judge of Character. As always, I'm your host, Steve. You know, characters are remembered for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes it's because the character actually had some sort of a general effect on storytelling. Sometimes it's because the character had an effect on how characters of that type are portrayed in later works. And then sometimes it's because of a line. Yeah, sad to say, sometimes a character is often only remembered for one piece of dialogue they said. A piece of dialogue that is forever after associated with that character. Don't believe me? Here's some examples.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Here's Johnny!
Say hello to my little friend!
You gotta ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
It's moving. It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
See? But even though there are some characters out there who are only remembered for that one line, there are quite a few out there who have that one quotable line that offer a lot more than just a line. Tonight's character is a perfect example of that. He has one of the most well-remembered and one of the most quoted pre-ass-kicking one-liners ever in history. But he offers a lot more than just that one line. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's learn more about Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride. Before we talk about the character, let's talk about the story, for the benefit of all 5 of you who don't already know what the movie is. The Princess Bride is a fantasy adventure film released in 1987. In it, a young boy, played by Fred Savage, is sick. So his grandfather, played by Peter Falk, comes over to read him a story, known as The Princess Bride. And this creates our framing device. Hope you like Fred Savage, folks. As for the story itself, The Princess Bride is a fantasy adventure involving our hero Wesley and his love interest Buttercup, the titular Princess Bride. At the beginning of the story, Buttercup and Wesley live on a farm, with Wesley being a lowly farmhand. The two fall in love, and Wesley goes off to find his fortune so that he and Buttercup can wed. But before long, Buttercup receives word that Wesley's ship had been attacked by the dread pirate Roberts, who leaves no survivors. Believing Wesley to be dead, Buttercup vows to never love again. Fast forward a few years later, Buttercup is now engaged against her will to the son of the king of the land, Prince Humperdinck. Yes, his name is Humperdinck. I swear I'm not making that up. That's his name. Humperdinck. Although he certainly does look like a dink, doesn't he? Anyway, to ease her ills about being married to a man who's only one letter off from being called Humperdick, Buttercup spends her time out riding her horse. It's during one of these excursions that she's kidnapped by a group of men who intend to murder her and make it appear that a rival nation was responsible, thus starting a war. This is getting to be a little long-winded. Should I keep describing this movie?
No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
Good idea, Inigo. Moving on. Basically, Princess Bride is a modern-made fairy tale full of action, adventure, revenge, and true love.
True love.
Oh, sorry, true love. It's also filled with fantastic characters, hilarious comedic moments, and awesome music. If you've never seen this movie before, you need to go fix that right now. Seriously, stop this video right now and go watch it. I'm being serious. Just pause this video right now and go watch it and then come back. I'll be here waiting. I don't mind. Go on. See? Wasn't that awesome? So now that we know what the movie is about, let's move on to our character for this episode. Inigo is one of the 3 men who kidnaps Buttercup. When we first meet him, we're led to believe that he's a bad guy because, hey, he's kidnapping. But we soon learn that of the 3 men, only their leader Vizzini is a real criminal. Inigo and Fezzik, that friendly giant you see there portrayed by the legendary Andre the Giant, are just working for Vizzini to, as Inigo describes it, pay the bills. Now at this point, I'd like to share a little bit of literary education with you. In literature, there is a term known as deuteragonist. Basically, it's about the second most important character in the work. It could be a villain, it could be a sidekick, it could be whoever. The important thing to remember is that a deuteragonist is the second most important character in the work. Why am I bringing this up? Because Inigo Montoya falls squarely into deuteragonist territory. While Wesley and Buttercup's love may be the main plot of the film, Inigo's story arc is also important. His is what's known as the subplot, a story arc that occurs alongside the main plot, though not always intersecting. And what is Inigo's story arc? Revenge! Early in the film, we learn more about Inigo's motivation. Gather round, kids, and let's have a listen.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
And with that, we have a backstory worthy of any D&D character. Now I have to admit something here. The Princess Bride is obviously about Wesley and Buttercup, with Inigo and the others filling the station of secondary characters in order to flesh out the movie. But whenever I watch this film, I pay more attention to Inigo than I do anything else. It's not because the main plot isn't interesting. Quite the opposite, in fact. It's just that, well, we all know the story. It's a classic plotline that's been told for God knows how long. Subsequently, most if not all of us already know how it's going to turn out. But Inigo's plot isn't as certain. Will he succeed and find the six-fingered man and get his revenge? Or will he fail? And thus we have the first reason as to what makes Inigo Montoya a great and memorable character. His story arc. Granted, the revenge arc has been done countless times before by plenty of other works, but there's just something about the whole concept of revenge that keeps us coming back for more. Especially when it involves a fallen family member. In the case of Inigo, it's his father that's fallen, slain right before his eyes. When we hear this, we're almost automatically pulled in. We feel for the guy. After all, how would you feel if your father was killed right in front of you? This bit of backstory gives us reason to cheer for Inigo. It makes us want him to succeed in his goal. Proof of this can be seen towards the end of the film. There's a scene where Inigo has the six-fingered man in his sight, who, by the way, is Count Rugen, the right-hand man to Prince Humperdinck, no pun intended. It seems like Inigo's journey is at an end, his goal right there. And then Count Rugen runs like a little bitch. Naturally, Inigo gives chase, but at one point runs into a door that Rugen locked behind him, so he starts ramming into it, trying to break through. It's a very small shot, only a couple of seconds long, but if you listen to Inigo's voice as he tries to break through, you can hear the desperation in his voice, and it just kills you.
Fezzik! I need you!
I can't leave him alone.
He's getting away from me, Fezzik! Please!
Seriously, if you don't feel for the guy by that point, you are totally uncaring. Inigo eventually finds Rugen, and after an especially awesome sword fight, complete with a perfectly timed fuck you, he finally kills him, thus satisfying his thirst for vengeance. Ah! And we as the audience cheer. Oh. Was it good for you? But of course, there's more to it than just the story. Inigo as a character is interesting. When we're first introduced to him, we're initially led to believe that he's a villain, only to learn within a minute that he's the exact opposite. He has most of the qualities we would normally see in a hero. He's very honorable, whether it's allowing Wesley a moment to catch his breath before they fight, instead of just killing him outright, or chatting with him about different sword styles as they duel to the death. This was obviously long before trash talking was the norm.
Blow me, bitch! Blow me, fat fucker, nigger, fucking country boy, fucking fat ass bitch!
Ugh. You have no idea just how much that kind of behavior pisses me right the hell off. He's also very determined. He's absolutely relentless in pursuing his goals. Take a look at this scene again, watching Inigo. As he slays the guards, he never takes his eyes off Rugen. That's just terrifying. It's a type of determination I feel we should all aspire to. Lord knows I could benefit from having just even a fraction of that kind of determination. Probably get a lot more stuff done, like cleaning my house. Then there's his swordsmanship. If you're gonna talk about Inigo Montoya, you have to talk about the sword fighting. And if you're gonna talk about the sword fighting, you simply have to talk about the sword fight. This is the fight that occurs between Inigo and Wesley early in the film and is easily one of the best scenes in the whole film, as well as being one of the best sword fights ever caught on film that doesn't use a lot of digital technology. That's right, there was just 2 people, and only 2 people, doing this scene. No wire work, no computers, no nothing. This scene is one of the many reasons I suggest this film to people, and for good cause. Throughout the scene, Inigo and Wesley trade clangs and hits, traversing throughout the whole set, all while fantastic music plays and while they chat to each other. Hell, the DVD even lists the scene as the Chatty Duelists. Watching the scene will do 2 things for you. First off, it'll show you, instead of telling you, what Wesley and Inigo are like with a weapon like this. And more importantly, it actually gives you a taste of what it's like when the movie and the music sync up. Seriously, watch this scene and just see how well everything molds together when it's perfectly synced. Gets me every time. Okay, so there's the personality, the story arc, the obvious skill. What about the actor? Mandy Patinkin is one of those actors that seems to just throw himself into a role and loves it. He's been Inigo Montoya, Rube Sofer from Dead Like Me, and was even in Dick Tracy as the pianist 88 Keys. And that's just a very small portion of his film career. That's not covering his time on Broadway. He was Che Guevara in the production of Evita in 1979, which he won a Tony Award for. He's been in numerous films such as Yentl and Ragtime, and has an extensive resume in TV as well. Simply put, the man is nothing short of fantastic, and he brings magic to every role he plays. Of the roles he's been in, my 2 favorite are Rube Sofer from Dead Like Me, and of course, Inigo Montoya. Okay, enough gushing. So what does Mandy Patinkin do for the character to make him so great? Patinkin brings both a soft and hard quality to Inigo. When he's being lighthearted, Inigo seems like a genuinely warm character. But when he's pissed and about to kill some 6-fingered fool, dear God, look out. One of the best examples of this is when Inigo finally kills Rugen. But listen to this line again.
I want my father back, you son of a bitch.
Patinkin really sold that line, as well as the others, which is not hard to imagine considering Patinkin was thinking of his father, who had died of cancer when he said that line. It's rather obvious throughout the film just how much fun the actors are having, and Patinkin is no exception. So is it any wonder that the role is still one of his favorites? Or that people are still quoting that one line to him over 20 years later? So in the end, is Inigo Montoya a memorable character because of the line? Or is it the character who says it that makes it memorable? While many people tend to remember the line more than anything else, I believe it's not because the rest of the character didn't make an impression. In fact, I think that everything about the character and what he's about only served to reinforce why that line is so great. In our subconscious, we know that Inigo Montoya is a great character, and why. So when we say that line, it's sort of our way of summing the character up in 13 handy words. So what makes Inigo Montoya a great and memorable character? Well, he's got an awesome story arc, he's honorable, he's determined, he's a master swordsman, and he's played by a phenomenally good actor. Or in other words, hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. I'm your host Steve, reminding all of you, stay in character.